Hey everybody, today I'm gonna walk through a LeetCode problem, very simple one and easy. LeetCode problem 344, reverse string. And in this problem, the problem statement is write a function that reverses a string. The input string is given as an array of characters known as S, and you must do this by modifying the input array in place with O of 1 extra memory. So in place is very simple. That just means that we can't like declare a new array or anything like that and do it that way. It'll take up more space and time as well. And in this case, we want everything to be as efficient and fast as possible. So we will modify it in place. Luckily, there is a technique that makes this a really simple problem, and that's the two-pointer technique. And basically, all that is where you initialize a left variable at 0 and your right variable. I can't write with a mouse. You initialize the right variable to the length of your array. In this case, it's S, and then you subtract 1. The reason you subtract 1 is in this case, for example, if with this first input being hello, you can see here it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 characters, and this will return length as 5 if we didn't subtract 1. But from a programming perspective, there is the indexes start at 0, so it'll be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 instead of 5. So that's why you subtract the 1 here at the end, because we'll be using that pointer to be pointing at that last index. So yeah, so this makes it a really easy approach. So we'll initialize left equal to 0 and right equal to the length of S, and then we'll subtract 1. Alright, and the way you set up this technique is to just write a while loop, and you say while left is less than right. And basically what you're doing here is you're setting it up so that you can increment and decrement your pointers to the point until they meet, and then it will break out of the while loop. And then in here is where the actual logic is going to go, and it's very straightforward logic. I will write the array here, and just from seeing the way it works, it's really easy to see how you would implement this. So if you visualize it, so in the first test case, we have the array of letters that spells hello, and you've got your left pointer pointed here and your right pointer pointed here, and essentially all you have to do is take whatever's at the left pointer, move it in place of wherever the right pointer is, and then take what's at the right pointer and put it in place of where the left pointer is. So you're swapping them, and then after you do the swap, all you want to do, really simple, you just increment the left pointer, decrement the right pointer, and do the same thing again. And you keep doing this until you're at the last one, and it breaks out. So the way you would do that is what a lot of people do is they'll create a temp variable when they're swapping things, but in Python, you don't have to do that. And what I mean by creating a temp variable, some people will do like temp equals, it'll equal nums at left, or sorry, s at left, and then what they'll do is then they'll swap them. But there's a really straightforward way to do it to where you don't have to use a temp variable, and that way is to just say s at left as well as s at right is equal to, and then you swap them here. So s at right and s at left. So all you're saying here is you want to change the values of s at the left index and s at the right index, and after the equal sign is what you're replacing them with, and that's where we're swapping them basically. And then after we're done with that, all you have to do, like I said, is increment the left pointer and then decrement the right pointer. And then once this whole loop goes through, that is when you can just return S, and you've modified it in place. And if we run this before submitting, just to make sure, yep, everything checks out, matches the first two cases, so we can submit this. I've already solved it, but I'll submit it again, And yeah, you can see here 0 milliseconds of runtime beats 100%. Very straightforward with a two-pointer approach. And yeah, one more thing I want to point out with this, the way we set up this last problem to check or to reverse a string is that it's a very similar approach to getting or checking for a palindrome of a string of letters as well. And the only thing you have to change is on this line right here, line 11. Um, for those who don't know what a palindrome is, it's when you reverse a string and it's the same backwards. So hello, obviously, if you were to, here, let me just print this out so we can show an example. So if you print, and we'll say test here, and we'll pass in hello. Um, so if we print this and we run the reverse on hello, you can see it gives us hello in reverse, which is not hello. I don't even know how to pronounce that. But we have an array of letters that spells race car. And if you reverse race car, you can see that it spells race car. So that's a palindrome, basically. Whereas hello is not a palindrome because when you reverse it, it doesn't spell hello. So yeah, the only thing you would have to change here is on line 11. Like I said, the approach is very similar, simple two-pointer approach. The only difference being that once you're in the while loop and you're checking each pointer, you want to say if if s at left is not equal to s at right, and you want to return false because if you have a mismatch, even just one, that means that this is not a palindrome. And if it does get through all the way to the end and it doesn't find any mismatches, then you can return true after the while loop because that means that it didn't find any mismatches and that is indeed a palindrome. So we'll start again with this and we'll pass in hello, and you can see here it will return false. But as soon as we pass in race car, it will return true. So yeah, that's how you reverse a string as well as modify it a little bit to check for palindrome as well.